Welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm your host, Krista Francora, and I'm here to bring you captivating stories from some of the most fascinating people I've connected with on my own journey of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Hey, everybody. This is the first Wild Remedies recording podcast of 2023. Yay! So excited for this year, for the new energy. We have a bunch of planets coming out of retrograde, which is really exciting. Today's episode is with Jeff Sorensen from breathARMY. He is so freaking cool, you guys. My gosh, this guy has had so many experiences in his life, and we go all over the place with it. He and I were kind of chatting on the episode about the current energy and how we both feel like we've been pregnant for 9 months with all of these products and ideas and things that we want to birth. And, you know, there's kind of been like this winter solstice energy where we need to wait. And also with the retrogrades, we've had Mercury and Mars and all of these things going on. So stuff is kind of feeling like it's not moving forward, but that's the way that it's supposed to be. We're refining our ideas, and now all of these beautiful things are about to be birthed into the world with a bunch of forward momentum. So I hope everybody is feeling that as well, that anticipation and all of the amazing things that are about to unfold for this year. So Jeff, yeah, wow, what an amazing conversation. You guys are going to love this. We go all over the place here. We talk about Jeff's healing experience. He has been, wow. Okay. So you know how like I talk about my healing experience where I'm like, the karma in my lifetime is to go through like, you know, all of these health challenges, whether it be like physical or mental or whatever. And then I'm having all of these healing experiences that I'm now passing on to everyone here. He's done something similar, but he really got brought down to the depths, y'all. Like, we're talking 3 near-death experiences, which we get into a little bit, and I'm so fascinated by. We're definitely going to have more people on the podcast talking about NDEs. I'm fascinated with it. I've studied near-death experiences. It's just, I think it's so cool, and it's made me just kind of want to experience one. No, okay, I don't want to actually bring that into my experience, but it just, I don't know, from what people say, like it's pretty fascinating. You come out of those just having no more fear of death because you see what it's like on the other side, and it's so beautiful. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but we talk about the near-death experiences, his rock bottoms, some of the profound spiritual experiences that he's had that have brought him into a place of helping others through breath work, through cold therapy, through psychedelic experiences, men's work. So there is a lot here that we are unpacking. A little bit about Jeff. So he is the founder of breathARMY, which is here in Kelowna, in Canada. And his mission is to educate, inspire, and empower people to live to their true potential. And he uses a bunch of different tools, like I mentioned. And he is trained as a psychedelic therapist, a yoga instructor. He is the head of experience for Entheotech Bioscience, is an international best-selling author, a retired paramedic, and he resides here in Kelowna, BC. So let's dive into this episode and meet Jeff. Really, really amazing guy, just such powerful masculine presence. And yeah, without further ado, let's meet Jeff Sorensen.
Hi, I'm Maddie. Let me tell you a quick story of how I'm supporting my PCOS with Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte. First of all, I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, so you know I'm investing in finding long-term, sustainable approaches to wellness. Living with PCOS, when things are feeling a little out of balance, it's common for me to wake up groggy, have blood sugar crashes throughout the day, or become totally overwhelmed by daily stressors. My morning coffee was causing blood sugar spikes, anxiety, and tummy trouble, so I swapped it for Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte about a year ago, and believe me when I tell you that the change has been insane. Each sachet has 3 servings of wild Siberian chaga, a powerful antioxidant-rich adaptogenic mushroom that helps to fight inflammation and fatigue and regulate the immune system. It tastes like a creamy hot chocolate with just a hint of spice, and it keeps my stomach calm. Since swapping, I feel more clarity and calm throughout the day, and my morning magic latte helps to set clear intentions for the rest of my day. I save 15% on my monthly subscription at wildremediesshop.com, and at $2.50 per serving, it's saving me a ton on Starbucks runs and supplement orders. Check out the links and promos in the show notes to get your own. Your adrenals will thank you.
Jeff Sorensen, welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm so happy to be chatting with you today.
Thanks so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I already feel, I can't believe I haven't met you in person yet. I've been in Kelowna for like 3 years now, and I've been following you for a little bit. I have some friends. We were just chatting that I think, are they working with you now?
Yeah, I've been working with Damien on different projects for a while now, and most recently with the Healing Tribe and the events that we've been doing over the last 6 months or so. So yeah, a good friend and partner in crime.
Awesome. Yay. I love it. Yeah. I've been meeting. I want to come to one of your events. I'm signed up for your emails and I get like notifications for online stuff, but I want to do an in-person event. And I've just heard really wonderful things, and I'm so excited to be chatting with you today.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, first, Happy New Year. This is our first podcast of 2023. And I heard that you guys had a pretty incredible way that you rung in the new year this year. Tell me about that event.
Reclamation. It was pretty wild. We got an amazing group of facilitators together. There was 14 of us all in total. And yeah, we brought ceremony into New Year's Eve. And I think one of the things that I've really been trying to do over the last number of years is really bring these high vibrational events into the mainstream and get people to be participating in those in replacement of our kind of more traditional modalities of getting together. And so with the Healing Tribe, really the motivation there is to really get some of these more esoteric modalities out to the mainstream and create these opportunities for people to come together in community. And so that feeds in right in line with what I've been doing as well. So we got together with Damien of Healing Tribe and all these amazing other facilitators, and we had a cacao ceremony. We did some movement. My partner Jada led the movement. I did a bunch of breath work with people. We had an ecstatic dance. And then we had some amazing sound healers kind of wind us all down at the end of the evening. Had a beautiful guided meditation right at midnight. Just so powerful to come together in that way, and had a fantastic turnout. It was in a great location. So yeah, it was just such a great evening.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm currently sipping on some cacao myself right now. Yeah, I've just recently gotten into it. It's not a resolution. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I'm not drinking any alcohol in 2023. I don't drink a lot, but when I do, it's just out of integrity. And I'm like, okay, enough's enough. And yeah, I've heard about the healing powers of cacao for a little while, and I've had a really wonderful experience with it before. So I'm playing with this a little bit now as kind of like a heart opening thing for socializing, and would love to actually learn more about how it's used in ceremony and experience that as well.
It's a powerful medicine. Really is. I think it's underestimated, maybe because of our cultural associations with chocolate, and people kind of associate cacao and chocolate together and maybe underestimate its healing potential and the power of that spirit of cacao. And it's a pretty powerful medicine. I've had a relationship with it on and off for almost 20 years now as a medicine.
Oh, wow.
And first came into contact with it when I was living in Mexico, and it's a really good one. It's beautiful for opening up the heart and connecting to that energy of the heart. It's been a big theme for me over these last few weeks. I feel like since the winter solstice that I've really just been having this wild heart expansion, which has been really beautiful. So yeah, the cacao is good for eating and that expansion over the weekend.
Yeah, I really love it. And I love experimenting with flavors and things. So I added a little bit of chipotle and some, what else did I put in here? Some cinnamon and cloves, which is wonderful. And I also topped it off with a homemade herbal marshmallow made with real marshmallow root. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's what
Yummy.
I do. I'm obsessed. I mean, Wild Remedies, I make potions. That's what I do, right? So it's like I merge my love of botanicals in nature with creating and design and all of the things, and that's my jam. And I just feel like I have so many. I mean, we were just chatting about this before we got on, but like the energy right now is so interesting. We've been in so many retrogrades astrologically for a while now, and things apparently are going to start moving forward. And I feel it. It's like you mentioned, people have been working on stuff, right? And just like for myself, I have like all of these things that I feel like I want to launch, but I'm just stuck. Like I just feel like I've been stuck in the mud, and I'm like, I feel like I'm 9 months pregnant and I'm ready to birth like all of these babies, and I can't. And it's like so frustrating. So I'm really, really looking forward to this new energy that we're ushering in for 2023 with some forward momentum.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that. I feel like I've got like quintuplets in me right now that are just like knocking on the door wanting to get out.
Seriously. Yeah, I'm ready to go. But it's been a really interesting process because it's like, I love how I've noticed in the past month or so, a lot of people have started to chime up a little bit about, the concept of going within during the winter solstice, right? You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, it's dark out. And if you're from the Northern Hemisphere, like you aren't supposed to actually be hustling so much. Like you should be getting more rest. Like you should be eating warm, nourishing foods. It shouldn't all be about hustle, hustle, hustle. And it's kind of psychopathic to like go into the 1st of January being like, new year, new me, all of this stuff, when really the new year starts in Aries season, which is spring, when all of like the new growth and things are happening, which makes so much sense. And I'm so glad that people are starting to talk about that now.
Absolutely. It's so interesting that our culture has pulled us in so far in the other direction, away from this going in and nourishing and just really being and sitting and listening and being quiet. That is so innate and intuitive within our body. And yeah, it's really cool to see more people opening up and maybe just feeling that alignment within themselves, that they need to take that time, need to slow things down. And it's, as you said, it's exciting to hear just the talk in the communities of of all these ideas that are being born out of that stillness and out of that quiet and out of the depths of the darkness, right? Rise all everything that is. So it's such an important time of year to be able to create some space and have the quiet nights and the slower mornings and the cold ice baths, of course.
And the cold ice baths.
Yeah. Those dark mornings and down in the lake are just so magical and special.
I don't know if I can do it. I mean, like I'm good with a cold dip if there is a sauna nearby. I'm such a baby. I was just at Liard Hot Springs over the holiday, which we were talking about, and It was a balmy -20. And I was like, this is great. Cold therapy, whatever. Get into the hot springs. And I guess it had been -50 the prior week. So there was
Mm-hmm.
like a layer, like a small layer of hot on the top, and the rest was like not that warm. And I was like, I'm going to die. Like, I'm going to freeze to death. I'm not going to get really warm. And then, because I thought like, oh, it's like when you're in a hot tub and you get all nice and warm and then you come, it doesn't matter what the temperature is. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
toasty, you can get your clothes on, no problem. And I'm like, no, I'm literally going to freeze to death. Obviously, I didn't know I was being dramatic, but that was some very primal hot and cold therapy that I got over the holidays. So that was great.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's wild to see the stories that the mind creates around cold.
Honestly. Yeah. There
Yeah.
really was like a little bit of anxiety being like, because my feet were sticking to the floor because everything
Mm-hmm.
was ice and it was very cold. And we went twice. And the second time that we went, I felt a lot more easeful about it. I think because I had already experienced it. But yeah, the mind
Mm-hmm.
really can create a bunch of irrational stories about things that are really unnecessary.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why cold is such a powerful teacher, because it provides an opportunity to recognize and observe those stories arising, and then to have an experience that completely shatters all of those illusions. And when
Mm.
we have that experience of those illusions being shattered, it's kind of like, well, what other stories am I telling myself that aren't true? And
Mm.
it creates this process of really starting to unravel and unwind some of the narratives that we create in our mind that maybe have been there for a very long time and don't serve us in any way.
Hmm. Yeah, very wise. Well, okay, so you're alluding to cold therapy a little bit. We've talked about ceremony. Why don't we dig into your journey, like who you are, who you serve, what you love to do, and how you got to that place?
Who am I? What do I serve? Well, my name is Jeff, and I'm founder of breathARMY. And my mission is to educate, inspire, and empower people to live to their true potential. And so I use different modalities of breathwork, meditation, movement, stressors like cold and heat, and also psychedelics to help people break through the structures and the patterns that hold us back from living and expressing that true potential. And so that's kind of like the avatar that I play in this world. Who am I really? Well, of course, I'm an expression of spirit. And who do I serve? I serve spirit. I
Mhm.
serve love. And I think all my intentions, all my actions, my words, and my deeds, I endeavor to align those with the highest good for all. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah, that's very powerful.
Doesn't always work out, but I do my best, right?
It's a
I
practice.
still got some stories and narratives that I'm working with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're always healing, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about your healing journey. Like where did you start out and what made you get into being in a place where you're just so passionate about serving love and humanity?
Mm-hmm. I guess the healing journey, I don't know if I could think of one specific place that it originated. I think it sort of filters and titrates in different experiences. And so through my 20s, I did a lot of international travel. And as I'm from a very small town in BC, I'm from Revelstoke originally. So it didn't really have a lot of exposure to spiritual, esoteric modalities growing up. And my childhood was pretty black and white, not really a lot of religious overtones, a little bit of Catholicism at a really young age. But really just kind of went headfirst into science, and I was a pretty geeky kid, and really just bought into that science cosmology of the world. And I thought things were black and white for a long time. Then through my 20s, I had a lot of really bad accidents, some near-death experiences, and there'd been a lot of childhood trauma as well. So those big shock traumas kind of started to allow some of that other trauma to bubble up, and the near-death experiences really started to shake up that cosmology of what I thought I knew, or what my view and perspective was of what the world was and what our role within it was. And so that started to shake things up after a particularly bad accident that really started to erode those foundations. I got really hooked on painkillers. I'd always been an experimenter in terms of recreational drugs, psychedelics, and that kind of sent me on this path of hard drug addiction that took me from Revelstoke down to the downtown east side, eventually ended up in Mexico and kind of crash landed in Mazatlan, which pretty much seemed like it was the end of the road at that point. And managed to get myself together when I got there, and found yoga, meditation, pranayama, and that became my new addiction. I just dove into that and just started to take those teachings and all that wisdom in, and not just learn about it, but really live it. And so I started teaching fairly early on. And just had a really, really strong personal practice and a really ferocious appetite to learn more. And I just, I had this inquisitive kind of analytical mind, and I just wanted to know as much as I could, and kept going down all those rabbit holes. And that road to recovery was pretty bumpy. There was some really big ups and downs along the way. And eventually that led me back to Canada. And over time, I just got more and more curious about the breath, and understanding my own breath was such a huge piece of my healing that I kept on going further and further down that rabbit hole. And eventually that led me to conscious connected breathing, Wim Hof's teachings. And really at some point just saw this emerging wave of breath work, and I could really see that it was a standalone modality. And just like the waves of yoga and meditation that had come before, I could see, wow, this is like a huge thing that's coming. And it seemed like such a poignant medicine for the time. I have this belief system that we're so disconnected and we're so out of alignment right now that that's why we need these big medicines of breath and psychedelics to help just like break those structures that are keeping us out of alignment and keeping us in amnesia. And so I just jumped on that wave of breath work and started writing that out, and went down all the rabbit holes that came along the way, and studied with some really amazing people, and kept studying movement and yoga and bringing all these different pieces together, and ecstatic dance and ceremony and psychedelics. And I think at a really early age, I was really, really unhappy. And even though I was a really smart kid, and when I went to school and I went to university on a scholarship and I was going to be a doctor, I really didn't care about school. I just wanted to be happy. And so it's nothing else really seemed to matter along the way. And I think over time that desire to be happy shifted to just wanting to be at peace with life. And through all that journey with addiction and the dark nights of the soul of mental illness, I just wanted to be at a place where I was at peace. And so that's what these different modalities have been for me, is they've been a way to create peace in my mind and to helped me to unravel all the different layers of trauma and energy and emotions that were all bundled up and kind of shut down inside, and allowed me to come to a place where a lot of the time I feel pretty peaceful, and I feel that I have purpose in my life, and that I'm able to affect people in a positive way. And I get to do the things that I love all day, every day, and share all of these amazing tools with people. So it's been a fun ride, a wild
Aw.
ride.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What an incredible experience. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's a lot to unpack there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I definitely, resonate with you in a lot of different ways when you talk about, just some of those dark struggles. Like I know through my 20s, my 20s were really difficult as well. And, there was a lot of partying, there was a lot of drug and alcohol abuse. And although I didn't, find myself rock bottom in Mexico, I had my own rock bottom. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting how those really kind of put you in touch with your purpose, right? Or like that big wake up call, right? And so grateful for that, even though it's extremely painful at the time, because and and what a blessing, because I've had friends who were in similar circumstances, got in an accident, were prescribed opiates, ended up on downtown east side in Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't get that, that grace that was provided
Mm-hmm.
for them, right? Because really, for me, that's what it feels like. It's like when your intuition recognizes that you're being given another way, another chance. Like what did that look like for you?
Yeah, it's funny. There's kind of always been this sense of, even in the midst of those dark times, as you say, of a grace or an energy of support that's there, and a knowing that there's a deeper purpose. There's more meaning to life than what I had known, and something to share that's important with the world. And and in those times, you can't even imagine what it is that you could possibly share, but it felt like, like I went through such wild experiences along the way, and it felt like, I don't think I really woke up to it until towards the end of the real kind of wildness in that journey. But towards the end, even within some of those dark experiences, just feeling like, no, this is exactly where you need to be, and this is exactly what you need to experience. And I think it was after the yoga and the meditation, all those other practices had come into place, that there was more of an awareness that this is the exact medicine that I need right now. And I might not want to be here, but I know that there's something I need to learn here, and something that's going to be important for the next stage of the journey. And I think it's so fascinating to look back at my own life, and I hear this from so many other people that have been on this journey too, that we have all these seemingly random experiences in our earlier years, like the places we work and the people we meet and places we go. And at that time, they really don't have any apparent meaning. And then, we look back years later and think, wow, like, when I had that restaurant in Mexico, or, when I was working as a paramedic or whatever, there's a recognition that piece was integral in creating this person that you are now, and the unique medicine that you serve in the world. So I find that piece fascinating. We're always exactly where we need to be.
Yeah. 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 I mean, we signed up for the assignment, right? And for the challenges that were given in this lifetime. That's really amazing that you had that awareness. It makes me wonder. So you mentioned you had a near-death experience. Was this before you found yoga and meditation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I had 3 of them in my 20s.
Oh, really? And did you
Mm-hmm.
like, was it an NDE? Like, did you have an experience? Did you see something? Or I'm totally fascinated with near death stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was very different experiences.
Okay.
So out of body
Yeah.
experiences, having a sense of traveling towards something which was clear that that was another phase of life that, um, there was a conscious choice as to whether to go back, whether to keep going. And there was an awareness around the going back was going to involve a lot of suffering, and that there was going to be a lot of pain involved with that. But it felt like that was still the direction that I needed to go. And I don't know whether that was just out of fear of the unknown, but it was clear that was the path to take. And that was interesting too, because I had that awareness that coming back was going to lead to a lot of pain and suffering. And there was a lot of pain and suffering on that road. And both for myself being immersed in these different situations and different locations of, the downtown east side, a perfect example of just like being steeped in suffering. Being incarcerated in different places and being in these prisons that just reek of pain and suffering, and just the stories of suffering and anguish, and going through just this anguish of mental health struggles and trials and tribulations, but what I didn't realize in that moment of decision was that, yes, it was going to lead to a lot of pain and suffering, but that on the other side of all that pain and suffering was peace and everything that I ever wanted. And so I think that's something that can be taken away from that, and is something that I try and share with people that I work with, is that it doesn't matter what we're going through, that it is an integral piece of getting us to where we want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that that going through these different experiences, as challenging as it can be, is going to make us into the person that we want to become. But it's really opening to those. And can we find grace? Can we find that acceptance and not hold ourselves in those experiences longer than we need to? Because I think sometimes when we end up in those places, that we become identified with that, and that becomes who we are. And we're terrified to let go of that aspect of our identity, even though we don't really want that anymore.
Yeah. And I think also too, because now you're in a position of, leadership in a way, and you're able to teach people from those hard experiences that you went through. And that's something that I'm identifying now too. I've, mentioned this several times on the podcast, but for me, a lot of my karma in this lifetime has been like illness, a lot of physical and mental anguish throughout my life, like deep, dark pain. And now, coming to terms and realizing that I had to go through all of those experiences in order to create what I'm creating now, right? Like, I didn't think that I would get into herbalism and natural health and all of these things. I was, a designer and a party animal in my 20s, right? And never thought that I would be into meditation and yoga and just be completely obsessed with wellness. That was not what I thought I would end up doing. But, I had to go through all of these different healing modalities and still continue to, like, the work is not over for me at all, in order to share them with other people. Because, I thought it was really interesting what you said about humanity being so out of alignment that we need these really big medicines and these big healing modalities in order to create shifts. I've been reading a lot about that in herbalism lately, where, you know, a lot of the plants and stuff that were traditionally used as medicine made a much bigger impact on our bodies because we weren't so full of toxins and like the, you know, whatever. We've got like the Wi-Fi and the 5G and like all of the things. And so these are still really beautiful, nourishing things, but you're not going to feel the impact as much as it would have a couple of 100 years ago, which is unfortunate on many different levels. But yeah, it really does make sense. It's like we need so much more to kind of move us from the stuckness that we're in, because we're getting it from like all sides right now.
Well, in a way, it feels like, you know, like you spoke earlier to these different ideas that it feels like we're birthing right now. And, you know, and it feels like we're pregnant, and it's like these things want to come out of us. But I feel also, it also feels like we're in the process of being birthed, and we've kind of been in this process for the last thousands of years of this concentration of trauma, you know, from generation to generation to generation. And, you know, as you spoke to with the medicines, it's like, you know, 5-10 generations back, you know, it's like every generation since then that trauma has been concentrating. And now we're in this moment where we can't bear it anymore. We can't stand to be with it. We don't have any other option but to heal, and to kind of go through that process of birthing into something new. And it's almost like that process of being in the chrysalis, you know, the metamorphosis of the caterpillar to the butterfly, and that dissolution of what was into what flies out of the cocoon and flies away into a completely new state of being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What an incarnation to be experiencing right now, right? Like it's
The
so
lucky ones.
doesn't feel like it some days, you know, like especially the last 3 years, it's been like, what the fuck did we sign up for? But yeah, it really is fascinating to see. I mean, like, and the shifts that are happening right now are so big and so profound and quick, right? Like we really are going through like such an awakening right now, right? Like 2023, the astrology for 2023 with like the whole awakening stuff is like, it's gangster. Like there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, so we've kind of been in training for this, right? Like all of these really hard things we've been going through. It's like, well, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to need some help.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing as you were speaking, is the importance of all those challenging experiences and how that's, you know, how I feel like hardened maybe isn't the right word, but it's prepared us to be able to manage these big changes in a little bit more graceful way than others who might be newer to the degree of discomfort that we're experiencing right now. And so it really does allow us to rise up and to help lead the way and show the path, and provide people with that support to know that we can get through it. We can do hard things together, and maybe even take ourselves through this and transition into a completely different way of being, where we don't need fear and pain and suffering to be our teachers anymore. And maybe we could let love be our teacher, and it could be a whole lot softer and a whole lot more gentle. So I toy with that a lot, is that maybe that transition is underway, and that we can release that way of being. We can release that way of learning and know ourselves in love.
I mean, that would be great. I struggle with that because, the whole concept of duality and everything, and we always have to have like this dark element. But I don't know if you've like heard at all about probably, but like the 2027 prophecies in human design, right? Talks about like less karma and kind of what you were talking about. So, but I'm here for it. I'm here for more peace. I'm here for less
Mm-hmm.
suffering. Absolutely. Let's bring it on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's, I think about the light and the dark, and, and do we need to identify darkness with pain and suffering and fear? Or could we identify darkness with all of those nourishing qualities that we spoke to around the solstice?
Right.
Of going in, going back into the room, going back to the mother, getting quiet. That actual dark energy of the mother, from which all is born. And can that represent the darkness? Does the darkness need to be represented by these heavy, hard teachers? I don't know. I think maybe we'll find out in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why not? We've already experienced so much. I feel like this is just kind of the ultimate, like, I've heard in some of the more, I don't know, I use the term woo woo sometimes, but like in some of the new age teachings that, this time period that we're in right now, a lot of people lined up for, because there's just so much going on, right? Like we're experiencing so much, and everybody wanted to be here. Everybody wanted to sign up and see what's going down right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
so we got lucky. We
I
got
guess.
selected for the mission.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled to be here.
Mm-hmm. I loved what you mentioned about the cold being a teacher. Like, do you kind of use that as a tool in order to help people become more comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're such a comfort driven society.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole culture is built around comfort and avoiding the pain, avoiding the suffering, avoiding all the emotion that we don't want to feel. And so it's just a great gateway. It's a great entryway for people to recognize that within that discomfort, or that discomfort can actually lead to feeling really good and breaking through all these old belief systems and limiting beliefs and patterns of behavior and thought that really don't serve us. And it's such a profound teacher because it just creates that depth of presence, and it's just like instant that we drop into a deeper level of presence and connection to everything around us. And I think, again, it's a strong medicine. And in order to break that identification with the mind and our thoughts and our narratives, it takes something really strong. And the cold is, I think, one of the best medicines, in that it's so quick and it's so powerful. And, in a lot of ways, as Wim would say, it's merciless, but it's not just merciless from the physical perspective in terms of, the effects on the body, but it's merciless in its ability to break us out of that identification with mind and bring us into the present moment, bring us into the body, and restore that connection with sensation and feeling and emotion, which is what so many of us need more of right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You're making me want to fill my bathtub up with ice right now. Well, I mean, we've got a whole freezing cold lake that I could just jump into, but like I said, it's like I gotta warm up after. I'm all about like, because late what I've noticed is for myself, I'm very sensitive because, I've had a lot of physical stuff going on in my body. I can't handle a whole lot of extra stress on my body right now. I'm working
Mm-hmm.
towards, I want to get to a point where I can run a marathon, but at this point, my body just doesn't let me. So
Mm-hmm.
stressful situations on the way for me can just be going for a hike during some point in my cycle, which is like not ideal for some reason. It's just not very
Mm-hmm.
resilient. So I love the idea of hot and cold therapy, but I have to be really careful at this point because a little bit of cold therapy for me, my adrenals could just be like, no, absolutely not. And then I'm not feeling so great the next day. But for
Mm-hmm.
anybody who is not struggling with that sort of thing, I think it's wonderful. But I have to work up to it, unfortunately. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
through a pretty cool healing process right now. Actually, I think Dr. Kevin Preston. I've seen you guys together on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been working with him for a few months now. And I've alluded to a little bit of the healing process on the podcast here. He's coming back on. He's been on once, and we're going to do a little update here, I think, at the end of this month. And yeah, it's pretty cool, like being in a place where I'm working with someone who can tell me, like, actually what the root cause of some of these issues have been, and the healing process with what we've been using, which is basically frequency medicine with homeopathy, which
Mm-hmm.
is a whole new thing for me and absolutely wild. But like, it's been it's been challenging. Again, a lot of like really uncomfortable stuff because it's like it's kind of bringing everything up. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm having uncomfortable physical stuff, and a lot of things that have been bothering me over the years have just been exacerbated. And I'm really having to trust this process. It's difficult because, like, I feel like I'm 80 right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it feels really rough, but I trust that this is the process that I need to go through, and that there is healing on the other end. And yeah, so I'm in it
Mm-hmm.
again. I get put back in it over and over again, but every time it gets a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. You've got good people taking care of you. Kevin's amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
He is.
been a huge help in my own healing journey.
Oh,
Got a
really? Oh, that's great.
biocharger just over here to my right, so it's.
Oh, do you have
I,
one of those?
I do. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
pretty
It's
cool,
been
hey?
such a game changer.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to come over for a biocharger session sometime.
Maybe I will try
Hmm.
that out. Cause what is it? It's like a bioresonance like frequency thing, or
I don't even know if I'm the best person to explain what it is.
I'll ask him on the
But
next
yeah,
podcast.
he will give you a far better explanation than I could. I could piece one together, but
Yeah.
what I do know is that it's a game changer in terms of how I feel. And when
Hmm.
I'm really, really busy
Yeah.
and putting out a lot of energy and holding a lot of space, it
Hmm.
really helps to charge me up and
That's
keep
cool.
me in tip top condition.
Yeah. Honestly, like it's the future. It's funny. It's like we're kind of reclaiming a lot of like these traditional ways. And, I'm seeing that in people being more interested in herbs and wildcrafting and these types of things. But then we're also at this point where people
Hmm.
are starting to understand the merge between science and spirituality, right? And so now we have quantum physics coming in. Oh my God, I was listening to this podcast the other day. I got to get this guy on the show. It was next level. This dude, he's like a computer programmer, and he is taking physical elements of, like, say, stem cells, for example, and he's somehow scanning it and taking the energetic imprint and then putting it into things like a crystal that you put in your water or like a cream or whatever. And it's not just like one thing. He's putting in like 100 different ingredients, and people are having these absolutely remarkable
Hmm.
healing experiences. And I'm like, holy shit. Well, that's like basically what homeopathy is, right? It's like
Hmm.
frequency, it's imprints. And so I'm wrapping my head around this right now because I've made this vow. I was like, okay,
if this homeopathy stuff heals me, which I feel it's gonna, I'm like, I'm gonna have to dedicate my whole life to this. Like, this is it. I'm gonna have to make products. I'm gonna have, it's gonna be a whole thing. So there's so much that's just like starting to come out with it, but it really does feel like this is this is the next thing. Like, we're energy, right? Like, we're really starting to understand that now. And so seeing it kind of manifest into our healing modalities in more of a mainstream way. And then also like with what you're doing, because that's energy healing too, right? And it's so great to see it here in the Okanagan now.
Yeah, we really are in such a fascinating time of integration of different modalities and different, like you said, like completely different, like ancient plant healing and herbs and herbology and, being merged in with these frequency remedies and, and quantum healing and different modalities. And we see like this synthesis and bringing together different modalities like yoga and meditation and cacao, and they're like from the different areas of the world and different medicines, and it's like we have such incredible access to information right now that it's just this, it's like we're in this cauldron of bringing all of this information and wisdom together to really create something so potent and powerful and so needed in our time. And like thinking back to Saturday night and that synthesis of cacao, of movement, of breath work, of sound healing, of meditation, of dance. And it's like, it's so incredibly potent, right? Like it's as potent as virtually any psychedelic, the experience, and it's so real. It's so tangibly felt, and it's so much closer to our ordinary state of reality. And so it's almost, I love psychedelics as well, but sometimes it's hard to bring some of those insights and some of that awareness and some of those downloads into our normal ordinary state of reality. Whereas something really tangible that's a little bit closer, that people can relate to and resonate with a little bit easier, is really powerful to give people such a powerful experience without consuming anything. So it's pretty neat too.
I love that. And I love that more people are reaching for those types of experiences now too, right? Like, I don't know, but like, that's definitely not the way that I used to ring in the new year, right? Like, it was always a party. It was always a party. But
yeah, and I do a lot of these events and, and just shorter events and low priced offerings in the community and offer them on Friday, Saturday nights. And that's a comment that I get from people a lot of the time is, like I started coming to these just as something to do on a Friday night, to go out and feel good and be around good people and, and just be in a higher vibration and, not need to be at home meditating by myself or whatever. It's like you're out in community and you get that social element as well.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are doing stuff like that on a weekly basis?
Oh, I do stuff like that all the time. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I want to come.
Absolutely. I want you there. But I'm taking January off. So
okay. So
first weekend in February.
Cool.
I'll be doing one with my partner Jada, who's also amazing. Yeah,
cool.
He brings a lot of movement and dance and primordial teaching. So we team up and do a workshop that we call Caduceus, which is weaving the sacred masculine and feminine divine. So that incorporates movement and breath work and a little bit of dance and a little bit of meditation and mantra. And yeah, it's a beautiful offering.
Yeah, I love that.
Great to have you there.
And I love that because, like, I do need something to do on a Friday night, like, yeah.
Just break things up.
Absolutely.
And just go out and have fun and be around people and be in joy and be in that love vibration and just I think as important as it is for people to go within and to have quiet time and to do the meditation and to sit and to allow, ideas and wisdom to arise from within us, I think one of the other potent medicines of our time that is so needed right now is community.
Yes.
And to go out and be in community, be around like-minded people, to be seen, to be heard, and just to recognize that I think sometimes, for myself, I was on a path by myself for a long time, through some really dark places. And so you have these insights and you have these shifts in awareness, but when there's nobody to reflect that back to you, there can be this doubt that arises. It's like, is this real? Am I kind of like dreaming all this stuff up? Or, you don't really have that clarity as when you're, like Saturday night, you're in a group of 125 people. Everybody's feeling, some version of that same thing. It's like, no, this is real. This is a new way of being. And so I think, being together in community is such a key medicine for right now too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's really needed. And, it's tough because it can be hard to find community just the way that our society is right now. And I think that's why so many people in our culture really were. I don't know if the younger generations are so much, but I mean, like I mentioned, when I was in my 20s, like that's what you did on Fridays and Saturdays, whatever, you went out and you partied, but you were looking for connection of some sort. But that was just the socially acceptable way of doing it at that point. And so now to have some options that aren't that and that are, healthy and foster like real connection and not, just like poisoning yourself and like doing stupid shit. I think is really important. And one of the blessings that I feel of the past few years has been the opportunity to kind of like find your people too,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's been kind of this process of attrition,
Mm-hmm.
coming into alignment of who we really are, but then in alignment with tribe. And it's like if whatever's out of alignment is more out of alignment than ever, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's forcing us into alignment with ourselves within community.
Yeah.
And I think that we're really lucky in the Okanagan because there is a really strong sense of community, and there is really a lot of people doing amazing things and some really powerful leaders in our communities. And I encourage people to get out and to tap into that in whatever way they can. And, yoga studios were kind of always my place of refuge and the place that I was able to find that connection. And so there's some great studios here in the city, and I teach at Pronify. There's a beautiful community there. And even if you can just get out a few days a week and go to a class and be in that vibration, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's been hopefully a lesson for a lot of people too, when there was all the draconian lockdowns and things that were happening and people really had to face that isolation. I mean, we already experience it just with the way that our society is right now. It's like we live in our little boxes. Nobody really talks to our neighbors anymore. And then we have this whole lockdown situation, which has obviously wreaked havoc on people's mental health. We've seen, mass suicides, all of these things. But it really shows how important human connection is, right? And like it is just, that is health and wellness just within itself. Like humans are wired for connection. Like we must have it like air, which is fascinating.
Well, and that was part of the theme of reclamation is, reclamation of body, mind, soul, spirit, sovereignty, individuality, but also reclamation of community and the recognition that is an imperative and that we can't let that go, that that needs to be protected. And it's so important.
I love it. Well, we're getting close to our time now. So for anybody who's listening who doesn't happen to be in the Okanagan, can they still connect with you? Are there offerings and things that you have where people from all over can partake?
Well, I do travel quite a bit. So I travel in between Victoria and Calgary is kind of my path that I take in the world. And so there's lots of offerings in between those two places. And then, through the breathARMY website, there's some different offerings on there. I do online courses. So I've got a course called the Breathwork Blueprint, and that's a 12-week online course, and that starts the next cohort on March 2nd. And then I also have a facilitator training course, and the next cohort starts in June. So there is some in-person aspects to that, but a lot of that is online for people that aren't here in the Okanagan as well, and then just kind of travel for the immersion aspects of it. So there's lots of online offerings. There's the free breath temples that happen every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And after a 2-week break, we're starting that back up on this Sunday morning. So,
Cool. All right. Well, I'm excited for February to come do some in-person stuff. I'm psyched about that. I meant to ask you, you do some men's work stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, we did a men's retreat in December down at the Sentinel called Awakening Man. And that was unbelievably good. It was amazing to see the men that showed up. And, I'm sure it's nothing new to you this idea that, women have been doing the work for a long time and have had a deeper interest in many of these different healing modalities. And for whatever reason, I think there's a lot of reasons why men haven't gone down that path. And, we could get into that, but it's not so important as to the fact that it seems like many men are waking up to the fact that work needs to be done. And the way those men showed up was unbelievable. Like they were there and they were ready. And I feel like the women have kind of laid this groundwork and that men are stepping in right now. And there's this process of calibration that's happening like really quickly. And so it's not going to take all this time for that process of healing to happen. I feel like we're in this period of acceleration and calibration. And so that was really, really cool to witness and be a part of. And we're talking about doing a men's group at Pranify, a regular men's group. And so that will likely start up this month in January. I'm not sure when this will actually come out to the world, but that will start here within the next few weeks.
Cool.
And there's more Awakening Men retreats coming up. I'm doing one out in Calgary in March, and then another one down at the Sentinel near Caslo in May. So, fun to be doing some of that work. But I still like working with women too, and like having that mix of men and women. It seems like, especially in a lot of the events that I do, it's starting to be more of a 50-50 mix. And that's really good. Fun too. Yeah. To have both those energies, because that's really healing too.
Yeah.
Is for each of the genders to be in the healing energy of the other one. So good work to be done separate and good work to be done together.
Yay. Well, I love to hear that. I spent some time living in Vancouver and was part of a community there where we did a lot of men's work and women's work and, together work that was very, very intense. I did some conscious relationship training, which was pretty wild. Like we did some pretty intense processes, which was great and what I needed at that time. And I was hoping to see more of that here in the Okanagan and didn't initially, but now I am, which is great. And I love to hear the feedback that, your classes and stuff are becoming more of like a 50-50 mix, because for the longest time, and even, still when I go to yoga, you might have like one or two guys in the back. It's mostly women at this point. But I think, things like breath work and Some of these
Cool.
ceremonial type things, bring out more guys. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Like as long as everybody starts doing the work, that's the important thing. So that's great news. It's good to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if there's any guys listening right now that are maybe curious about it, like I just feel like men's work is so, so important because so many men, like most men can't say that they have, even a best friend at this point, which is really, really unfortunate. Like men are lacking community so much more than women. And, it is a basic human need. It's really, really important. So for any guys listening that are looking for community, like men's groups, I don't know, I feel are just so, so magical. Like there's so much that happens with women's groups, but we just kind of naturally do that anyway. We're just built to be a little bit more social in that aspect. But guys need it too. And I think there's a lot of healing and potency and friendship and all of the amazing things that can be fostered through those containers.
Absolutely. So important, so powerful, and a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today. It was so great to finally chat with you, and I'm excited to meet you in person in a few weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, likewise. I really look forward to that, and I've enjoyed the conversation and really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, and for everybody listening, thank you so much again for your support. And if there was anything that compelled you about this episode, just give it a screenshot and share it so we can get this into more people's ears. And we'll catch you all on the next episode.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for sharing your time and energy with us today. We'd love to hear your feedback on how our podcast has impacted your life and are also open to suggestions for new and interesting topics. Please leave your comments with a quick review to help us grow this magical community of wellness warriors and light workers. Every month, we select one lucky reviewer to win our big magic box containing all 3 of our beautiful magic lattes. To connect with us further, check us out on Instagram at wild_remedies. Thank you again, and see you at the next episode.